This is a very important topic for the people who are in the pharma. And the payment was nicely placed before the two lectures, like by Rajni Shawji and as well as Ishwar Reddy sir. They emphasized on the importance of the digital technologies and the importance of the AML technologies in improving the efficiency in the R&D and also the cost. So cost is one of the, as the speaker said, cost is one of the paramount thing which is killing the business as well as the time. So at the same time, decreasing the cost of R&D and taking care of the operational excellence. All these areas, a single solution of the modern solution is that adopting the digital technologies and do the things much faster than you were doing yesterday. So today, as I'm talking about the technologies which will be helpful for you to design the formulations in a next generation level, I just talk about one slide about my company, the Pharma DEM Solutions, and what is the need for this digital technologies for the formulation R&D. And followed by I'm also going to talk about one of the such tool which will be helpful to you to design your formulations using most of the digital things, and how these virtual technologies will be helpful to you to randomly screen the formulations without making them in the lab. And some of the case studies where successfully been delivered some of the formulations with the utilization of the digital technologies. So Pharma DEM is a company which comes with a novel innovative software for the pharmaceutical product development. It's the first of its kind of company which focuses on the drug development software development, and it's proudly supported by the Startup India and Government of India. And Pharma DEM leadership starts with the MD Dr. Ravi and Dr. Deeparani, myself, who are the leadership of this organization. And Pharma DEM has already been well-established organization in the Indian pharma, and 8 out of the top 10 Indian pharma companies are using these technologies, either in the API development or in the formulation development, and also some of the global companies as well. And to start with, and Pharma DEM is in a 5 years old digital CRO company, which has delivered close to 75% projects successfully to the Indian pharmaceutical companies in last 5 years of time. And these are some of the scientific contributions we made. And if you see, these are the scientific foundations which leads to the digital advancement in the R&D or the pharmaceutical R&D. The first one talks about the applications of quantum chemistry for process development, the manufacturing development. So chemistry generally thinks about very early stage in drug discovery and all. But this is one of the publications it's been collaborated with a lot of top pharma companies, where we established that how quantum chemistry can be, fundamentals of chemistry can be useful in yield improvement as well as the impurity rejections. And second one is about the solubility. Solubility is one of the fundamental problem which is there right from the reaction solvent selection to the manufacturing yield improvement, and as well as the formulation solvent selection as well. And these two papers illustrates examples and the applications of how fundamentals of the chemistry and the digital technologies. It's not about digital means it's not all about the AML. There is a lot of fundamental science and modeling also involved, like computational chemistry, QSAR, a lot of quantum chemistry, DFT technologies, molecular dynamics. This also falls under digital technologies. There are a lot of applications of all these things to advance R&D in terms of speed and accuracy. So when we talk about the drug development and digital opportunities, there are 4 areas. Any pharmaceutical company majorly focus on the 4 areas. One is the making of a drug substance, and you want to make it stable drug substance, that is solid state form. And second one is you wanted to make a proper formulation. And third one is that you wanted to make an proper efficacy. So in the talk of the Dr. Ishwar Reddy sir, he told that 73% of the Indian pharma is focused on the formulation exports. When we talk about the formulation export, the formulation is all about making a stable, efficacious and manufacturable formulation, where you can incorporate in your regular R&D operations to improve the efficiency and the speed of your formulation deliverables. And what is applying? Why you wanted to implement these digital things into your organization? So digital things actually enhances the applications or understanding on your overall product development. So you'll get more deeper understanding on your excipients which you are used, process which you have used, and more understanding will lead to the quickly resolving your issues. How fast you are able to solve your problems, the scientist's ability to solve the problems will increase the delivery speed. So when I'm working with the Lilly and Dr. Reddy's, so in US and India, the performance of the scientist is always assessed on how fast he is able to solve his problems, how fast he is able to bring the product to the market, whether it's a digital or non-digital, whatever the way. But then we have to make a product to be marketed faster. So that should be the metric for the companies to recognize the next generation and encourage the smarter employees in the organizations. So without having the tools, you're not able to encourage that. So you know that it is all good, but which software I have to use, which one is working well. In the digital things, what is a big problem is that if there are 100 softwares are there, only 1, 2 will work. There's a big problem. So which one is to evaluate is a big problem. And tasting the digital success is not done by many companies. We have been talking about digital R&D from last 10 years. I can see in today also, hardly 4 or 5 companies are fully digitally enabled. And in last 1.5 year of journey in the Pharma DEM, we could able to help the companies, more than 20 companies in India, to take a digital path with a successful, seeing the digital fruits. They might have tried the different softwares, different collaborations earlier, but after they tied up with us, they realized that, okay, this is actual real value. Okay, so we know that there are a lot of companies, but less success rate in the IT area or pharmaceutical area. So we came up with a novel software. This is also because of the problems with the software's ability. We come up with one of the software called SolidDem and second software called FarmDem. Both of them are first of its kind of in the world. One focus on the API R&D, second one focus on the formulation R&D. So formulation stability is one of the big problem for the formulation export companies. So we have a software designed and for FarmDem, for formulation stability assessment. So why do we need to worry about the formulation stability? If you look into the problem, the need of the distillation, this is not done by me, this is the survey done by the McKinsey. When they did survey on the 103 companies across the world, one of the major problem in the pharmaceutical product development is that formulation R&D. And it's not 1 to 60% of the projects are facing the issue of this formulation stability failures. And that could be a formulation shelf life improvement, or physical stability failure, or chemical stability failure, color change, packaging, extractable, leachables. And if you see the majorly, it's a stability, bioavailability, and sometimes you may need to reduce the cost of the formulation. You might be selling one of your formula at maybe 100, 1,000 rupees. Because of the competition, you may need to reduce it to 100. All of a sudden, you can't change your formula, right? So you have to do a lot of groundwork to change your formula to reduce the cost. And that also delays a lot of the affordability of the medicine. So, and the delay is caused not by 1 or 2 months. The most of the times it is more than 12 months. And how to address these issues? Sorry. So when we talk about the formulation issues, the formulation issue is not about only the formulator problem. The formulation problem is a multi-cascading problem. One bad formula leads to a lot of analytical burden and lot of material consumption, and it also, the less understood formula also leads to the analytical burden, right? So example, someone makes 10 formulations and those 10 formulations has to be maintained by the analytical team for 12 months or 24 months to establish they are stable. And in the process of establishing all the failure 9 formulations, you will be consuming mostly 42% of materials are getting wasted. And if you go back, I know a lot of industry leaders are there here. If you go back and ask your analytical person, how many successful formulations came out of 10 formulations you made? Ask the simple questions. How many formulation stability studies you have done in last 1 year? And out of that, how many are really failed? You will see 80% of them are failed formulations, and only 20% of them are successful. And most of the time, if you ask the question that, okay, formulation has been very, very easy thing, why we are taking 18 months, 2 years, 3 years to file in a formula? Majorly because of the last minute stability failures. Okay? And if not well understand formulation also lead to other important problem, that is regulatory hurdle. If someone regulatory person asks you that why are you use SSG in your formula? Most of the time answer is that because the X generic has used SSG, I am using it. The answer is not acceptable to regulators. They'll ask whether it is playing a role of stability, whether it is playing a role of absorption, whether it is playing the role of the physical-chemical property, physical stability. Most of the time formulators struggle a lot. And less understanding on the formulation will lead to the complex CQS. Complex CQS lead to the manufacturing costs. You don't need to use those many number of excipients maybe, but you are using it because some X generic has used, Y generic has used. So if you get a full understanding on the formula, you can substantially reduce number of formulations. One of the case study which I am going to show you, one of our client, he has used 18 excipients in oral liquid formula. We have reduced the 18 excipients to just 6 excipients by understanding the excipients well, their role and the stability. So what we are trying to do here, whenever we talk about the digital things, acceptability and all, it's all about understanding at molecular level, how well you are able to understand your formula. Imagine, generally we see any formula in the lab like a powder or maybe a liquid or maybe a spectra which has been given by your analytical person. But what if you see inside what is there is that you have set of molecules and they have been in some medium and they might be floating freely. They have their own thermodynamic properties, they have their own surface charges, they have their own pH conditions. There is no analytical method which enable you to look into the system at a molecular level. So that's what we are trying to provide you, a molecular modeling binocular, where you can see inside the system, where you can see, understand each chemical role in your formula, whether that chemical is playing a role for the stability, or it is playing a role for the physical appearance, or it is playing a role for the absorption. If you know, understand about each excipient present in, then you will be able to better optimize it. That's why the more you understand about each character, a character is a composition of a structure, a physical appearance, and a physical properties as well as its usage. More you understand about each character present in formula, and you have a better under control on your stability of the system. And how do we achieve this? You have to achieve this by representing your each molecule well in the computer and simulate its behavior using the first principles of the physics and chemistry and temperature. So that's what we do in the Pharma DEM. We try to understand each chemistry, each character present in the formula, and atomistic level we simulate the behavior of the each component. And when you simulate, you know that how it's behaving, then you can address your issues much better. So I formed them. So most of the questions, 3 questions any formulator will ask. Which excipient I have to choose? First question. What is happening to my excipient matrix? Then what's happening when I'm using all these things in a single formula? These are 3 fundamental questions each formulator wants to know in a better level. If you know the answers of all these 3 questions, he'll be in a better position to make the formulations. So Pharma DEM provides answers for all these 3 questions. First, it has the ability to screen all excipients. In general, in lab, if we do force degradation, we do 10 or 15 excipients force degradation. But Pharma DEM can screen all IAG approved excipients. All excipients which are present in the handbook of excipients or IAG list. Close to 1200 excipients, different grades can be screened just within 1 day. In 1 day, you can screen 800 plus excipients with an accuracy of more than 80%. Now you can choose the most compatible excipients, top 10 compatible excipients before you make a formula. Not only choosing top 10 compatible to the drug, and you can also choose the excipients which are compatible between them. The second one, the excipient compatibility. And how those excipients are being playing a role, are they making a byproduct which will interact with your API or not? And third thing is that what is the percentage of excipient is important. Using the poison 1% have significant impact on the using of poison 5%. Both the cases you are using same excipient, but in one case you are using 1%, second case you are using the 5%. No innovator or no R&D or no generic person claims that what is exact the weight fraction used. Generally says that I have used lactose, I have used sodium carbonate solutes and all. They never says that what is exact weight fraction they have used. Even you don't publish it, but you take the information that, okay, I'm also using lactose. He might have used 1%, he is in safe zone. You might be using 10%. That's fair and unsafe zone. So this helps to understand what is the exact weight fraction you have to use. And third thing is that most importantly, you can make a virtual formula. You can create a paper-based formulations and test them for the stability. This is the first time in the world we brought this technology, virtual formulation design and technology, virtually designing the optimizing the formulations. So you design hundreds of formulations virtually, but only make promising formulations, minimum formulations where you got a confidence that these formulations are stable in the lab. And just make them in the lab. So maybe you test 100 formulations, but only make top 5 formulations in the lab. So you're saving 95 formulations efforts in the lab. Imagine how much materials, how much analytical, how much time you're saving. So what is the technology we are using? This is a fundamental science we are using. We are integrating the best of the chemistry, physics, along with the machine learning technologies to give accurate drug excipient compatibility and formulation stability predictions. And followed by the benchmarking. If you see that, what is the accuracy you are getting? So you may be using a lot of complex chemistry, lot of machine learning, lot of hi-fi things. But what about the accuracy? This is one of the most important and missing pattern in most of the newest software companies. So when we tested our technology against 440 formulations, most of them are published and collected from a lot of our consortium members, industry members and collaborators. And we could able to see in the drug excipient compatibility, we got more than 80% accuracy. If you see in the list here, we have same API with multiple excipients and multiple temperatures also. And this experimental versus predicted also you can see. So temperature level, different excipients. In some of the APIs are salt forms also you can see in the list. In base versus salt form, because base excipient compatibility different from the salt form compatibility. So you're able to predict a form specific excipient compatibility so that you're in a better position to choose your excipients. And finally, what all you can do with this kind of technology is that you can predict drug excipient compatibility and drug-drug compatibility within a short time. You can also predict excipient compatibility. Most importantly, you can create virtual formulations, make the virtual formulations, test them before you make in the lab. Test for the stability, assess for stability before you make in the lab. And you also, if you find that, okay, all of them are failure, you optimize virtually. You get a feedback from the software that, okay, which excipient is actually making your formula unstable. None of the analytical methods gives you feedback that, okay, why your formula is failing. Most of them tell that, okay, your assay is dropped. That's all. Why it is dropped? What excipient is actually making it drop? None of the analytical tools tell you. But this technology will tell you that which excipient is making you to fail the formula, so that you can optimize the next iteration to maybe reduce the concentration of that excipient or remove that excipient completely. And understanding each excipient contribution on the formulation stability improves your ability to solve your problems much faster. Ability to improve solving the problems faster increases the faster to the market filing, right? So how fast you are able to solve the problems, that much faster you are able to file it. So this is one of the case study where we screened more than 800 excipients in the very quick time. And again, this is not a service we are doing. This is software which will be installed in the client location. No, we don't know which software, which project you are working on. This can be used by formulator on his own. We made it so automated, so user-friendly. A formulator with a minimum 1 to 2 days training, they will be able to use on their own. They can test their ideas on their own. You don't need to have a trained computational chemist. You don't need to have a trained specialized person to use this software, unlike any other computational chemistry software. So by screening like this, you'll be able to rank order what are your most compatible excipients, most incompatible excipients. You know that which should not be used in your formula, which can be used in your formula. From the list, you can choose one binder, one diluent, one lubricant and all of most compatible, and you can make in a formula. So this is one of the rank order we done by one of our client. They made 10 formulations which are all studied or designed based on the Pharma DEM. When they tested 10 formulations in the lab in 3 months, and they could able to find 8 formulations are rank ordering are well matching with the Pharma DEM. This is one of the case study which they shared with us and they allowed us to publish. But we have delivered more than 25 plus projects to the clients, and many more been done by them himself in last 1.5 year time. So most of the times, our virtual formulation calculations, the predictability is very accurate. It's at least 70%, 80%. If you make 10 formulations or make 5 formulations using our predictions and all known to be good, at least 3 formulations will be stable for at least 3 to 6 months of time, and even more longer also. This is one of the typical case, which is common case most of our Indian generic companies are using, reducing the cost. Reducing the cost. So this is one of the big pharma company. So top pharma company, they have a product in the market, situation that they have to make a paraben free and they have to reduce the cost. They have to make a sucrose free also for diabetic patients. So they have existing formula. I have removed some excipients for a confidential point of view. So by making only 5 formulations in the virtually, they compared the existing formula with the new ideas. They made only 5 formulations in the lab. All of them are, if you see S1, S2 are failed in the formulation prediction by the Pharma DEM. Stability score, SS, of the S3 and S4, S5 are coming good one. They made only S4, S5, S6 in the lab, that's all. This project is done almost a year now. Those 3 formulations are very, very stable and they are at par with their existing formula. They made significant changes in the formulation. They removed sucrose, they removed parabens, they reduced the number of excipients. So this is an oral liquid which has 3 APIs in it. One of the highest complex formulation. Oral liquid, 3 APIs, couple of them are salts in it. So with that, You can also control one specific impurity. This is also another important problem. You control out of 4 or 5 impurities, one impurity is coming, keep on coming. You can control one specific impurity also using the Pharma DEM. So, using the digital technologies now, we have seen how much time is wasted in the earlier, but if you use the Pharma DEM, again, all the modeling outcomes has to be read and understood well by the scientist. So, Pharma DEM is coupled with the scientific human brain, you will be able to save a lot of time, at least 60% of analytical time, 40% of the project time, and 40% of the material consumption. And if you are able to do it at less cost, you will be able to pick up the high complicated projects also and high value projects. The future of the formulation R&D looks like this. You do more virtual, you do filter the excipients in silico, you do excipient compatibility in silico, rank order the formulations, and whatever is been suited to be go for the lab, eligible to go for the lab, only those things you make in the lab. And with that, I conclude with a short video. I don't know whether video will play or not.
I think it doesn't come, I think. Oh, it's coming.
Sound is not coming. So as I mentioned, so it can do drug-drug excipient and excipient compatibility. So this is a key to understand any formulation. And most importantly, we can do ICH stability conditions, stability prediction. So at humidity and temperature, 25, 60, 5 degrees for injections and all. And this comes as a standalone software which can be installed in your local machine and you use in your own, like an MS Office kind of thing. You can stop there.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Sir, most of the excipients, say one example I give, is sodium carboxymethyl cellulose.
Yeah.
There are various suppliers and all will be different. And their rates are also very variable, extreme ends. Some of them are very cheap, some of them are very costly imported CMC.
Okay.
So when you give the formulation for a particular excipient, all these aspects are taken into consideration.
Yes. So as I mentioned, each molecule taken into the system is taken as a character. A character consists of physical properties of the structure, impurities containing with the structure, and some of the, as you mentioned, polymer ratios and all. So we are studying the character to character relationship.
So when I want to use your software or whatever process,
yeah,
then if I am using a one particular excipient, then excipient I have to tell you that this type of excipient, and then you will design the software and give it to us.
No. So already the basic information will be there. Only few changes, as you mentioned, viscosity, physicochemical properties. We have a panel inside the software where user can himself can modify those properties. So you can open that excipient file and modify the physical properties of that particular excipient file and save as your own file, and you can use that as for your formulation stability calculations.
Okay.
Including the impurities profiles also you can change.
Okay.
Most of the times impurities are the major grade changers.
Any other questions? If there is no question, then we can hand over the memento and the...
Thank you very much. Thanks RNIS once again for the opportunity.